Welcome to Nationalism in Europe. Let us talk about what is nationalism, European society, a little about touching upon the French Revolution, the unification of Italy and Germany. So when you go to see, this looks like a long chapter as a whole. But when we will break it into smaller units and deal with them separately, you will enjoy it. Now, what is nationalism? It is a feeling of belonging and loyalty that causes people to think of themselves as a nation. During the 19th and 20th centuries, nationalism was a powerful force that could, number one, create one nation from many separate countries, for example, Italy and Germany. And number two, break one nation up into many smaller countries like Austria, Hungary, Turkey, etc. Let us look at the European society. As you can see in the images, there were two classes of people, the upper class and the lower class. The upper class included landed aristocracy, and they were the dominant group. They had common interest and lifestyle. They owned large country estates and townhouses, and most of them spoke French. However, the lower class people were peasants, most were landless laborers and worked as serfs. Now look at these images. There's Otto von Bismarck, there's Giuseppe Mazzini and Garibaldi. These were the leaders of various revolutions in Europe, and when we deal with this entire chapter, you will definitely find them in some place or the other. Now, we are going to deal with Napoleon Bonaparte, who is in the image, as well as the Napoleonic Code. So if you remember, in grade 9, you have studied the French Revolution in detail, and all of you know who Napoleon was. So when we talk of the Napoleonic Code, which became very, very famous, there are some pointers that we need to keep in mind. So if you have a textbook with you, it would help in marking those points, like return of monarchy, administrative reform, equality before law and the right to property, removal of guild restrictions in towns, improvement in transport and communication, uniform laws, weights and measures, etc. So I am sure you have marked this by now in the textbook. Now when we talk of the French Revolution, all of us know it started in 1789. It was a full-fledged territorial state. There was a monarch. I'm sure you heard the name Louis the 16th, and he had a beautiful wife, Marie Antoinette, and they decided to live a very lavish lifestyle. There was a palace in Versailles. I'm sure you heard of all this in class 9. But there were political and constitutional changes that came in the wake of the French Revolution, which led to the transfer of sovereignty from a monarchy to a body of French citizens. It also powered revolutions in entire Europe. Then we come to the idea of nationalism. Now we've done nationalism in India, so you have a very clear picture of what nationalism means. However, there are these terms like la patrie, the fatherland, le citoyen, the citizen. In the French Revolution, you did this citoyen, citoyenne, male and female. The French tricolor, hymns, oaths. So I told you these as symbols of nationalism in France. Exactly opposite this, in your notebook, you will list symbols of nationalism in India. So I told you there was a uniform system of weights and measures that was introduced from the Napoleonic Code. There was use of Parisian French. Imaginary female characters were used to show a united nation. And just as you can see in the image there, that is Germania. Germania works well for a 1-mark answer. So you can keep it in mind. After all, I have smart, happy children. Your emotion is my emotion. That's why you see these happy children here. Until I meet you again next time, stay home, stay safe, read well, prepare well. Goodbye.